Social Security won't be coming back from this one, as a new report was just released from the OIG encompassing $1.1 billion worth of benefits, and that's a new record, not in a good way. I'll be discussing the details of exactly what this means and how this is really messing with the benefits of millions of beneficiaries, again, not in a good way. That's the focus. Let's jump into it. First off, thanks so much for joining me. Will you please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet with the subscribe button down below? Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm here for you every single day, doing all the research so you don't need to and breaking it down into these short videos. Thank you so much. Please subscribe if you haven't done so, and let's talk through the details about this. All right. A new surprising report was just released from the OIG, which stands for Office of Inspector General, and they oversee some of the operations of Social Security and the finances as well. Now, here's the thing. Social Security is a massive, massive program. They deal with well over $1 trillion a year coming in and going out. A lot of money changing hands when it comes down to Social Security. So with that volume of money coming in and going out to millions upon millions of beneficiaries, you would anticipate, yeah, sure, there's going to be some mistakes sometimes, right? Well, yeah, guess what? There's a mistake here, and it's a major mistake, which is encompassing over 500,000 people and $1.1 billion. And in some cases, just like you're going to see here, it's actually really messing with the benefits of some people in a massive way. Let me share with you really quickly a quick little story of one person that was highlighted in this article here. So they found that this one person was actually being overpaid, and they found the mistake in 2021. It was 4 months after they were starting to get overpaid, and they had already been overpaid $9,000. They could have stepped in and said, hey, excuse me, we're overpaying you. We've got to stop this. But they didn't do anything until 2023, a couple years later, and they paid that person $62,000 overpayments. That's not good. That really messed with that person. You know why? Because now this person was relying on this money, and then they come in and say, hey, sorry, we've overpaid you by 62 grand. Guess what? They want to get that money back, right? Well, luckily, earlier this year, they made some changes to how much they can collect from somebody with overpayments. More on that in just a little while here, but they made some major changes. So that's actually some welcome news and a really good thing for people that have been overpaid. But get this. Here's what they found. Over the last several years here, they found that they've basically, if they would have addressed these concerns right away, they found $534 million worth of overpayments. If they would have addressed them automatically or like right away, that's all it would have translated into, which, by the way, this encompasses about 528,000 people in this study here. But since they didn't do anything right away, this ballooned to $1.1 billion worth of overpayments that they have outstanding out there. That, guess what? Yeah, they want to get back from beneficiaries. Do you think that this is going to be a little bit detrimental to the beneficiaries who actually are relying on these benefits and maybe don't even know in the first place that they're being overpaid at the time? Yeah, exactly, right? Like I've said before in other videos, I don't talk about the whole overpayment thing all that often, but when it comes up, it's an ugly situation, right? But the thing that I've said before in other videos is the last thing you want to get from Social Security is the dreaded letter in the mail that says you've been overpaid. And then they ask for that money back, right? Which, by the way, quick note here, I said a second ago that I'd share with you the details of the changes they made earlier this year. Yes, they did. Some really welcomed changes to the overpayments. And again, I want to make this very clear. Sometimes, actually, I would say this much. Most of the time, the beneficiary that is being overpaid doesn't even know that they're being overpaid. That's why this can be kind of a scary situation, because if a beneficiary is getting, the amount of money deposited into their bank account every month, and they're just thinking, hey, I'm living my life, I'm just doing what I can here, and all of a sudden they get an overpayment letter, a lot of times it comes out of the blue. The person has no idea that they've been overpaid that whole time. And this can happen to any beneficiary. Most of the time, overpayments are arriving in SSDI and SSI payments. That's the bulk of beneficiaries that are being overpaid. Again, SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance Benefits, and SSI, Supplemental Security Income. That encompasses about 17-ish million beneficiaries out there total. Well, my point is, that's where the bulk of the overpayments are coming in. But it can also go to other beneficiaries, right? Retirees, spousal beneficiaries. It can be all of these people that can get overpayments. They can make miscalculations at any point in the process, and it can happen to anybody. So my point is, even if you feel like, hey, I've never received an overpayment letter, that's good. You don't want to. This is one of those pieces of mail that you never, ever, ever want to get from Social Security. Trust me, you don't want to get one, right? It's a bad situation. We've been talking about this for what, a couple years now or so. There's been some major studies, some major investigations that have gone on with this, and they found that a lot of people have gone through a really rough situation. Tens of thousands of dollars that have been overpaid from Social Security, and then they want to get that money back. But sorry, I digress for a second, but I want to tell with you really quickly the changes that they made earlier this year. Back in March of this year, late March of this year, they made some very welcome changes to the overpayments, okay? So previously, if somebody was overpaid by Social Security, basically they could take 100% of your benefit until that money was recouped. Sad, right? If somebody's strictly living on their Social Security, which the vast majority of beneficiaries are, just imagine that. One day you wake up and they say, oh, sorry, we overpaid you by $7,000. We're going to take your benefits for the next 4 months until we're all repaid. Not a good situation, right? Yeah, that'd be really, really bad for the people. So they made this change earlier this year, again, late March of this year, 2024. And basically what they changed is they can take up to 10% or $10, whatever is greater, okay? So that's the max that they can take from somebody on a monthly basis to recover any overpayments, okay? So, I mean, don't get me wrong. A 10% reduction or $10 would still be, money being taken out of the checks of a beneficiary. But I can say this much. It's way better than 100%, okay? It's way better than 100. So whatever your check happened to be, if there's an overpayment, basically you would pay them back, very, very slowly, 10% or $10 a month for basically for the rest of your life, because that's basically how long it would take, right? It would take a very long time, but that's okay. It's way better than 100%. So that's something that's out there. Now next, you can also appeal it, okay? That's another option as well. You can certainly appeal and say, oh no, you didn't overpay me. You can go through the appeal process, and that's something as well. Does not guarantee that you're going to be granted that money and that they're going to say, okay, we're going to waive it. But basically, you need to prove essentially hardship. Basically, hey, if you take this and if I have to pay you back, I'm going to be living on the street, okay? Obviously, that's a very extreme example, but not all that extreme, because this has happened, unfortunately, to some people. I've been reading about it. There's a number of people that have been highlighted in some of the research and the articles that I've been reading out there. This is a real thing where people with benefits have been cut or they've been overpaid, and then they were cut and had to pay that money back. And guess what? They lost their housing. They lost all kinds of stuff. So in other words, this would be really bad. But again, why they made those welcome changes earlier this year. So, wow, another $1.1 billion of mistakes. Could you imagine having the bankroll, to have the bank account and have the income that you could just, make a $1.1 billion mistake and be like, whatever, I'll just let it go for a few years, and if I catch it at some point, okay, I guess I'll try to act on it, but, just 1.1 billion, who cares, right? Obviously, I'm kidding. $1.1 billion is an awesome amount of money. I think we'd all be very happy with that, right? I would be. I'd be super happy with that. I'd feel very excited. I'd be very happy. And by the way, if that ever happened, certainly, obviously, I would do what I can to share with all of you here in the community. I mean, I think I've made that pretty clear with all the giveaways and stuff like that I've done over the years. I want to do what I can to help you here in the community. But sorry, let's not get too sidetracked here, right? But anyway, this is a report I wanted to share with you really quickly. So, another little mess up, a little whatever you want to call it. I mean, I could use all kinds of bad words to describe this, but I'll try to avoid some of those here in this video. But you get my point here, right? They blew it. Another 1.1 billion, and ultimately this will come back on the beneficiary, because at the end of the day, guess what? They want this money back. It's not like it's just water under the bridge and let's say, oh, just kidding, it's fine, just keep it, you'll be good. No, they have to get that money back, right? Unless the appeal is processed and unless the appeal is granted and the person, would experience hardship as a result. And obviously there's more to it than that. But basically, yeah, that is the other option there as well. So I'm going to say this much. I hope I cross my fingers for all of you that we never ever receive an overpayment letter. Okay, that would be a bad day for anybody. I don't care who it is. It could be $1,000 of overpayment. $1,000 these days is a lot of money for a lot of people, and that's a lot of weeks and days worth of food and shelter and rent and utilities and gas and clothing, all the things, and medications. That's another thing as well, right? So anyway, let's leave it at that for now. I hope this helps you. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends on social media. There's a share button down below. So check out the other videos here on the channel, the thousands in the video library. The ones I've hand selected for you down below in the description or the top of the comment section. And right now, pop on your screen as well. You'll see some videos there. Thank you. Really appreciate your support. Have a good one, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.